There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. Some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 11 of the Supercheap Auto East Coast Series, coming to you tonight from upper state New York, Watkins Glen, where we are racing the NASCAR Cup circuit for 77 laps. I'm John Van Ree, and with me tonight I've got Mark Duggan again. How are you, Mark?
Very good, John. How are you going? Good to be at Watkins Glen. Great track. Always fierce rivalries and battles around here, and can be a pretty hectic race around here at times.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing how these guys go as they just roll out now for the start of qualifying. Going to try my qualifying screen tonight and see if it works for me, since it didn't work last time. And boys are all rolling out now. We'll have a quick look at this layout. It's a very interesting little track. As we said, we're running the Cup course, so we come downhill into the fast sweeping turn 1, where we then come up through turn 2, 3, up over the bridge between 3 and 4. Very fast, technical part of the circuit to get right. Then try and get the power down as we come out of turn 4, where we come into the bus stop, the 5, 6, 7, 8 complex, otherwise known as the inner loop. And then we go to the outer loop through turn 9, and then instead of continuing on down into the boot section, we continue straight on to turn 10, where the boys will sweep through there, probably in 3rd or 4th gear. And then after that, they will come down into turn 11 and then down, start, finish straight again. So it's a very quick lap. These boys will be doing this lap times in here around 1:08. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see how these guys go here.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be pretty fierce racing tonight. This track is one of them tracks that just always produces incidents, overtakes, and lots of great fun racing. So looking forward to this one. A big welcome to all the people in the chats as well.
Yep, Will Wilson, Pete Keller here. Good to have you in again this evening, boys. We might just have a quick look while these guys are still getting going here in this qualifying session. Might have a quick look at the championship. It's starting to get towards the climax with one more round to go after tonight. James Scott in a very commanding position on 16.98, followed by Paul Young on 16.02. And I noticed Paul's dropped into the server. He's come in a little bit later than normal. Chris Smart from our Synergy Sim Racing. He's a surprise package. He's the bolter. He's knocked himself up into the podium. And Tim Mulford in 4th from Phoenix Racing. Another great result for Tim. Blake Warboys in 5th. No Warboys tonight. Away on work duties in Sydney, so unfortunately has to miss. And then Mr. Hobson in 6th with 1.387. So the current champ, well down the order. Kenny Ladder in 7th. Damien Johnstone from SSR in 9th. The super boss Jordan Ross in 9th from SSR. And Harrison Dengoat rounding out our top 10. Only just in front of Jamie McKnight in 11. So still a fair bit to play for the boys in the top 10, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. A few surprise packets there. Paul Young sneaking up into 2nd. We know how good Paul is at building a championship run, and he's done really well. Christian Smart, one of my fellow vets competitors, great guy, great racer, and he's building a nice steady stream. But big surprise for me, Tim Mulford, bolter up into 4th. That's a great result for the Phoenix Racing driver. Tim's, I think he's been with us all season. I think he did a season last round last season as well, and he's really putting together some good rounds, which is great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, the class of field we've got here tonight, very high. Quite a few pro drivers out and about. This is their last hit out they get before tomorrow night's Pro Series race. So looking forward to see how they go tonight. New surprise package. Scott Gamble, he's having his first outing at East Coast for WK&P, which is great to see Scotty G having a bit of a run. And the boys have opened up the last two races to the guys that have entered and paid for season 7. So I'm interested to see if a couple more of those guys drop in before the end of the season as well. But at the moment, we've got James Scott setting the pace with a 108.262. Dylan Rudd, 0.006 of a second behind. That's how competitive is here. Brad Radu, 0.2. Tom Freer, 200ths back again. Back to Ross, 400ths. Back to Briggs. So very competitive in the top 10 already. You can basically throw a blanket over these boys.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Being a shorter lap, you're going to see them lap times really compress in the gaps. You're not going to see huge gaps like we do on some of the longer tracks. So you really got to nail your laps here, because it's going to be very, very tight right throughout the field.
Absolutely, and you already see these boys bunching up again as they try to roll out here. Be very interesting to see how we go with all this. Looking forward to seeing what the moves are as these guys try and get themselves up and running again. So sitting on board at the moment, we're having a good look at Tom Freer. So Tom hasn't raced all the season, but he's back in tonight. And we can sort of see these boys, a fair crowd here rolling through. And we might just jump on with James Scott, see where he's parked as he comes out of the bus stop. And it's continuing on here. I unfortunately have a cough, so I apologise.
Yeah, I'd just like to extend a big warm welcome to Scotty Gamble, joining us for I think his first race in East Coast tonight, and a big gain for the WK&P boys. Big gain for that team, and I'm sure Lake Warboys will enjoy Scott's input, because Scott's got a lot of experience and he's a great driver and a great guy. So, yeah, big warm welcome to Scott Gamble.
Yeah, it's a very big get. A bit of work in the background from Ash Barella on that one. But definitely already starting to see some effects within the team of Scott coming along. It's been interesting racing with Scott. He did stops on Sunday night, which was his first run for the team, which was good. And pretty excited for the vet season starting on Thursday. As Jordan Rossi is still setting a reasonable time. Got Ash Barella with a purple sector, which I find a bit difficult to believe. It's continuing on. Scotty Gamble there. Boys all coming across the line. It's just going to check here, make sure something I just dropped into the chat. Someone asked where they can find the Scops as well. You want to know where SimSpeed TV is probably your best spot for all of them, Will. Answer your question. SimSpeed, I don't know what their YouTube channel is, but that's their best spot to go. Both of them, sorry, not both of them. Scops is on SimSpeed, Vets is on SimSpeed, and I will get you the link, the YouTube link later for the Pro Series. Scotty Gamble, sorry, Scott James Scott straight into the pits. Dylan Rudd's in the pits as well. Brad Radu is out on track. Race control's noted an incident already involving Paul Young, so I'm not sure what happened there with Youngie. Just going to try and see. There's nothing in my notes on that one, Mark, so I don't know whether you saw anything.
No, definitely didn't. I'll troll back through my replay and see if I can find something.
Yep. As I think these boys are all coming back in. Dylan Rudd, the 9.5 SimSport juggernaut. He's back out on track. So he's on an out lap. So I think he's got a teammate in front. I'm not sure. but he's definitely rocking and rolling. And and just to answer your question, Will, that's the YouTube link for the Pro Series. And, well, we've got time to do this. I'll get this out of the way. And that is the link for SimSpeed to watch Scops. So hopefully that'll help you out, mate. Big shout out too, if you're watching us on Twitch and Facebook as well. We are going into the Twitterverse now, or Twitcherverse, sorry. So definitely getting out there a bit different as these boys are about to tick over halfway mark of their qualifying session. We might jump on board with Dylan and see what he can do as he comes out of turn one.
Okay, so I did find the incident involving Paul Young and Ken Latta. Paul was just about to start a hot lap. Kenny was trying to enter the pits, and Paul's just clipped him on the left rear quarter panel. So, yeah, I'll leave that one up for race control to adjudicate.
Yeah, very difficult pit entry at this place in terms of the race line. Going to create some very interesting dilemmas. To answer your question, David Baldock, Blake Warboys is in Sydney on work commitments. Due back tomorrow afternoon. So hopefully he manages to get his flight home and get home in time for the Pro Series. It's Dylan Bales on this lap. So definitely starting to tick along a little bit here. I go to the wrong camera. And we might jump on with James Scott and see this pack mentality. We see it in Formula One. We see it here again in the East Coast, and we see it in the Pro Series as well. Everybody's got a jockey for position. Takes the slow lap, gets himself off the line. See guys going everywhere. Another incident's been noted with 990 with Dylan Rudd. These boys getting way off the line here. This is ducks and drakes.
Yeah, too stressful. Just get on with it.
Yep. We only got 20 minutes, boys. If you need the draft that much, you've got some problems. And they're all on their outlap. So here we go. Here comes James. Jump on the nose here. Have a look. See coming down here. Get the 300 board. Get on those brakes. Pull it up nicely. Swoop through turn one. Use the apex. A little bit of runoff there. Canberra's really good through 1 and 2 as you come up the hill. Slight lift, back on the power, stay off the fence on the right side, back on the power here and then down this long back straightaway. This is where it gets really tricky. Out the 400 board, pull it up, get it right over next to the fence. Try and control the car over the curbs, get back on the gas and then hook it into the outer loop. If Gunter was here, he'd be saying that's a carousel. Anyway, continue on. This is this bit where they're allowed to go wide off track. James there using most of it as he can. Coming down into turn 10. Same thing again, back into 4th gear, hook it round. Big cambers on the road here. You can make the most out of a lot of these corners. Hook it in again. And we're bailing the pits. Dylan Rudd has towed without permission. That's what they were noting. So he's out of quali. That parks him up. As we jump back on now with Bradley Radu. So Brad Radu sitting in 3rd. Tom Frere's in the pits. Cam Jones has pumped himself up to 5th with Jack Boyd in 6th. It's a great result there. Jordan Ross, Adam Briggs, Tom Freeman from Fishy in 9th. Scotty G from WK&P in 10th. That rounds out our top 10 at the moment. Still got 6.5 minutes to go here, so plenty of time. Dylan Rudd sent back to the pits, as we just heard.
Yeah, that's a big blow for the 9-5 boys. Dylan Rudd currently sitting P2 in qualifying, so that's a massive blow, and Dylan will be disappointed that he breached the rules there, I'm sure.
We'll see how that one plays out. And continuing along with our qualifying session, might just go a little bit further back.
The good thing for Dylan, I guess, is we've got 77 laps for him to make his way through the field.
Hello. Mr. Warboys has just dropped in. Not sure what's going on there. I might just try and suss that one out. I might get home in time. He's back tonight, not back tomorrow night. I just going to. I won't get in his way. I'll let him qualify. It looks like Blake's back, so not sure what's happening. I've just gone back through the team chat, and it's got I might get home in time. So plans might have changed for his work commitments.
Oh, well, that's good for us and good for Blake. He's he needs the points for the championship, and we need the entertainment. So it's great to have Blake here.
And of course, he's out of sequence with everybody. So I've mentioned to see, trying to work out where on track he is. Just gone past Scotty G. He's on a slow lap.
I wonder if he'd practice his racing on his drive home from Sydney.
I believe he's flying home, so I suppose you could sit there on the plane and think about the corners. Of course, these boys at this pace, I think they think about this all the time. As we'll just see what time he posts here. This is his first one out. The clock clicks over a minute. We're down into the last 5 minutes of quali here. Warboys right out on the wall. Another incident noted between the 999 and 143 with Jordan Ross. It's Warboys about to set a time, so he hasn't even got a time set, so that's why he's flying around as fast as he can. Jump back on, James Scott going through the carousel, through the outer loop. And the rest of the train with Radu and co, they're all on the power at the moment as well. So we're down to the last 3.5 minutes. It's pressure time. What can these boys get up to here?
James Scott has bailed on another one. Quite possibly got an off track there.
Looks like it. As Radu has a bit of pace. Warboy's about to set his first lap time. He does a 108.26. No, it's not 108. Sorry, let's rephrase that. Warboys crosses the stripe. And he must have had an off track in that as well. He hasn't jumped up on my timing board. Now let's see what Radu can do. Can he get himself above Rudd? Not a pit lane start for the 999. That's a big blow. For that incident with Jordan Ross. As these boys cross the line, no improvement for Radu. Rick Kuznetsov jumps up into the top 10. That's a great effort for Rick. And trying to... Christian Smart, so it's his own teammate. That's the weird one with that one. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure it was completely unintentional, but race control have picked it up, so...
Let's just have a bit of a look. Cameron G. Jones is sitting in 5th at the moment. That great looking green ZB Commodore from 95 Sim Sports. As the clock's ticking down now with 1.5 minutes to go.
And Blake Warboy's passed the stripe again without setting a time, so he must have another off track.
Definitely not a good run for Blake. Anyway, you can hopefully get one in. As so a few boys coming in. Jack Boyd, he's on an outlap at the moment, so have a look what Jack can do. As we're down to the last minute. So Paul Young's got himself up into 12th. That's the young car. He's on an outlap, so hopefully he'll get himself in time. That clock ticking down. He's only got 40 seconds. Don't forget the power on a bit there. That's the 12 car. Well, boys has crossed the stripe again without setting a time, so not sure what's going on with Blake. As Dengate, he's on track, but Paul Young was the man we're looking for. He makes it by 10 seconds, so he's off. And the other man, Radu, was on an outlap, so I think Brad's missed the stripe for this one, I think, as the stripe crosses over. As has been an incident between Ladder, Johnston and Mulford, so it's been noted as well. So race control being very busy in this qualifying session already.
Yeah, well, I did say this track can throw up plenty of tough racing and plenty of incidents. So it's just one of them tracks where it seems to happen. I'm not sure why. It is a great track to race on. So, yeah, race control busy in qualifying. Hopefully they're not too busy in the race.
77 laps, long way around this place. Expect these boys to be working very hard. 2 compulsory stops, of course. And no, we've basically got 12 p.m. for the sim time as Young pulls out on that one. So we've got 12 p.m. sim time, dynamic skies, temps about 25 degrees, wind is 12 kilometres per hour from the northeast, 84% humidity, track state of 50%. They have the 1 fast repair, 25 incident points, 2 compulsory stops, and they have 3 sets of tyres tonight, so they don't have to worry about tyres like we have in the last couple of rounds. And a big shout out to Shawnee Mack, who's jumped in, saying that the whole field will be in pit lane the way they're going. Yeah, it seemed a bit like that in the end. Anyway, let's jump on and have a look at the grid once that clicks over. Seconds time. Waiting. Pop up right for me or not? Let's see. No, it won't. Wait the race. It's going to be an interesting one, Mark, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. We've got quite a few fast boys coming from the back of the field. So, and we're going to have our usual protagonist at the front of the field, James Scott. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Bradley Radu doing a great job for 9.5. So, yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting start to this race, I think, and especially the open and 10 laps.
Absolutely. I'm just going to run down, as they get Steve Murray as well, run down through the grid. James Scott, Dylan Rudd. So we've got a split front row. Then we've got Brad Ratu, followed by Tom Freer sharing the second row of the grid. So 9.5 Sim Sport, Synergy Sim Racing, blocking out the first 2 rows. The third row, Cam Jones from 9.5 with Jack Boyd from Synergy Sim Racing. So again, we've got another lockout with the 9.5 boys in the mix. And then on the next row, we've got Jordan Ross and Adam Briggs. And then we've got 9.5 Sim Sports, Tom Freer Fishy Motorsports, Tom Freer alongside 9.5 Sim Sports, Rick Knetzev on the 5th row. On the 6th row, WK&P, Scotty Gamble alongside Phase 4, Paul Young. As we jump over to the next row, Damien Johnstone alongside his teammate Kenneth Ladder from Synergy Sim Racing. Tim Mulford from Phoenix Racing sits in 15th alongside Synergy Sim Racing's Christian Smart in 16th. Phase 4 Motorsports, Ben Morris will be 17th. 18th is 9.5 Sim Sports, Craig Schultz. And then on the next row, we've got Harrison Dengate from WK&P alongside Sean Rigby. And then on the next row after that is Asperella from WKP alongside Synergy's Matty Mascord, the Novocastrian, and then we've got Blake Warboys, the shock of the evening, sitting back in 23rd alongside, or not alongside, with Race Control being Seb this week. And we also have in Race Control Dave Worrell and myself there. I've accidentally entered as a car. Richie Barella's driving the safety car, and Gunter, or say AKA David Worrell, is the other race steward in the box. It's going to be an interesting one, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dylan Rudd has taken his position on the front row. I thought he might have got a rear grid start, but good to see him up the front there. I think the only one with a pit lane start is going to be Christian Smart.
That puts Christian back. This will be very interesting. Keep an eye out on Warboys. Expect him to make up a few spots here. Definitely nice little pleasant shock there for you, Steve Murray. Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing how these boys roll out on this one. As we said earlier, this is practice for these guys for tomorrow night's real deal for the Pro Series. So I don't think these boys will be mucking around in this one as we're about to go green. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights.
Green flag.
Lights are out. James Scott gets a good start. This time he's away as he pulls over to the outside of the line and then butts in front of all these boys, 3 or 4 wide back. We've already got Mulford and Dengate involved in an incident that's been noted before they've even crossed the line. But James Scott is in front. Dylan Rudd tucked up right behind him. A little bit of a gap back to Radu. Radu's done well. Tom Frere's on 4th spot. Boyd's made up 1 spot on Jones. Ross Briggs, Knisov's up a spot. Freeman's down a spot. That rounds out our top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, pretty frenetic start there. James Scott got a great jump. Dylan Rudd also done very well. James covered him off on the first corner and now they're nose to tail heading out onto the apron for lap 1. So going to be fast and furious, very short laps, but pretty intense lap around here.
Definitely intense. Minute 8, remember we didn't quali. But you can see these James using all the track here. And nicely getting it right out to the curb as well. As that completes our first lap. Jump on with Tom Freer here, coming down into the first corner. Couple of big moves already. Craig Schultz is up 4 spots. Warboys up 7 spots. We did say keep an eye out for Blake. Might just jump back there, have a quick look. He's tucked in there side by side with Ben Morris. Dengate tucked up behind him. Warboys gets through. So battles everywhere along this track. I don't think anyone's got more than a second gap around anyone. Cam Jones under a lot of pressure from Jordan Ross. Jordan in the blue car tonight, just to confuse us. I think he's been in the blue car last week. As race control, no further action on that incident that I noted before.
I think it was somebody had stalled on the grid, so it's hard to penalise somebody when that happens. So good call from race control.
Adam Briggs, he's in the middle of this mix here. This is the battle here, really, as you can see from coming out of the curb there, from first all the way back to 10th. As James sets the fastest time of the race so far with a 109.01. So definitely a frenetic pace going on at the moment. There's a lot of boys now, probably time now, start thinking about settling in the tow, save the fuel, see what we can do here.
Yeah, this is definitely the time to just get into a rhythm, try to save as much fuel as you can for this first pit stop, and with no real worries about tyres tonight, the boys can go out at 110% for the whole race.
Yeah, absolutely. There's Sean McNamara in the chat commenting that there'll probably be a fair bit of fuel saving early.
I did see somebody spear off there. I'm not sure who it was.
It might be Tom Freer. Let's go to the Supercheap Auto replay. Have a quick look if I can get to it and click it. And it's Tom Freer. He's got a little bit wide. He's found the grass and decided to go eat the boot. Have to be a little bit careful, don't go too far down there, because I think it will give him a penalty of sorts.
Yeah, I think you're right. You can probably get a DQ down there if you're not careful.
Yep, and I think he may have towed. I do know, I think from fact, that you do get DQ'd, because I did, vets were there here a while ago. I did go for a drive just for the fun of it. Sean McNamara inquiring about the track temperatures. And my graphics is not coming up. I don't know why.
Track is currently 51 degrees. Quite cool.
That's why. There it is. Yeah, 51 degrees. And of course, ambient temperature 25. So tyre wear at those sort of temperatures will be very important as well for the boys. Try and manage.
Yeah, definitely a difficult one to manage with that temperature. A lot of load going through the side of the sidewalls of the tyres on this track in a lot of places. So, yeah, very crucial to try and square the car up as much as possible.
Yeah, very critical. As we just go back a little bit down the pack, we've sort of got the battle happening. Sorry, start with Jack Boyd. So Jack, he's under a lot of pressure from Cameron Jones. So the 9.5 boys doing relatively well here. We've got 4 of them in the top 3 of them in the top 5, sorry. Definitely taking it to the Synergy lads. And we might just roll back a little bit. Scotty Gamble putting a lot of pressure on Paul Young. As you can see, they're going out of that outer loop. They're using the whole circuit and some. And just trying to catch up where War Boys is. And Blake is in 14th. So he's got a little bit of a gap in front of him to get to Craig Schultz now. So he needs to work hard to pick that draft back up. And in front of Ben Morris. But the talking point at the moment, James Scott, 6 laps in, has not managed to do his usual knockout punch yet and get the big gap on everybody. Rudd and Radu keeping him very honest at the moment. They've broken away a bit from Jack Boyd, who has Jones, Ross, Briggs and Kuznetsov back in the next pack behind that. So still very competitive groupings here.
Yeah, the front 3 are pretty tightly bunched still. Dylan Rudd, yeah, big welcome back to him to the series after not being here for quite a few rounds and showing his class. Brad Radu, again, back in the V8, doing an outstanding job. And yes, hasn't been long back in the V8, straight back up into the front of in the mix with, you know, all the front runners. So what a quality driver Brad is, and a great signing for 9.5 SimSport. Then we've got that second angry bunch, which is Jack Boyd, Cameron Jones, Jordan Ross, Adam Briggs, Rick Kuznetsov and Thomas Freeman. So yeah, there's still a lot of battling going on right through the field at the moment.
Yeah, it's great to see. It's a 1/10th race distance, so still a long way to go. Remember, 2 compulsory stops. So these boys definitely doing really well. I'm going to touch wood and dread saying this, but we haven't had a safety car for the start period as well, which I think is fantastic. It shows the quality of driving we've got tonight. That section of track, boys got to be careful there. You don't want to have an overlap happen inside. Race control informed us at the start of the race that if you go out wide, you have all 4 cut wheels off the track surface or off the track line between the white lines, you'll be in a situation where you'll have rejoin issues. I'll let you read that comment, Mark. Not touching it. And we'll continue on. We might jump back up the front again. That gap's getting a lot tighter. Dylan Rudd absolutely making James Scott work for it here. Big shout out to Dave Worrell.
Yeah, the pitch is looking very smooth there, Gunter, and the crack is opening up.
As we continue on, just going to go back a little bit again. Adam Briggs, he's battling away. He's tucked in behind Rick. Rick's up 3 spots in the 7th. It's a great try from Kuznetsov. And Tom Freeman, Fishy Motorsports, nicely tucked there in 9th spot. These three working well together here as well. And then we're sort of 2 seconds back to Gamble. He's managed to get himself back in front of Paul Young.
Yeah, good to see Scotty Gamble just sneak into the top 10 now in 10th place. He's up 1 spot from his race position, so good start to the race for Scott Gamble. Blake Warboys, what a start for him, up 10 places.
Yeah, I was just about to say, he's managed to get himself back on the back of Craig Schultz now and past ladder. So he's definitely going to be knocking on the door of the top 10 soon, I think. Yeah,
absolutely, and an outstanding drive as well from Craig Schultz, who's currently up 6 spots on his starting position, so that's a mighty effort from Craig.
He's doing really well, great to see. We might go back to Timmy Mulford, he's in a bit of a battle as well, working our way back down the pack a bit with Dan Gate and Damien Johnstone. So definitely some packs everywhere else. So, but it's everyone battling everywhere at the moment. As we jump back up the front and have a look at Scott. Managed to pull out a little bit. When I say a little bit, I'm talking 2/10 from Rudd in the last lap and a half. So the battle definitely starting to open up a fair bit. So 10 laps in and still a battle and a half for everybody. Still throw a blanket over the top 9 cars. Adam Briggs is starting to put a fair bit of pressure on Kuznetsov now. That gap's getting a bit tighter. Freeman tucked up right behind him. A great little battle pack here. Dylan Rudd's closed that under a bit of pressure now from Brad Radu.
Yeah, James Scott just slowly edging out like a couple of hundredths a lap. It's been hard work for him to make any sort of gap, but he's just slowly getting out to about almost half a second now. So Dylan will have to work hard to stay in the draft here.
Yeah, definitely. Can't let James get away. Interestingly, Radu, Boyd hanging on probably just with inside that draft distance. Jones as well, Ross. So it doesn't really open up till you get back to Kuznetsov, where it's a second and 1.4 seconds is the gap. So it's very tight amongst the group. Blake Warboys is now up under the back of wing of Young as well. Just got to say how good those West End Motor Group banners look on the cars. Of course, West End Motor Group, Too Easy Finance, Parramatta Mazda, Parramatta Isuzu Utes, Parramatta Peugeot Professionals, Parramatta City Haval and Great Wall Motors, Blacktown Mazda, Blacktown City Haval and Great Wall Motors. So if you are in that Sydney area and you're in the market for a new motor vehicle, highly recommend you go and have a chat to the team at West End Motor Group. And Sean McNamara noticed what I noticed as well when we're looking at the banners there, that Rudd has a little bit of impact damage on the left-hand side of the car, so not sure what's happened there. They obviously must have grazed a wall at some stage. Chris Smart has been involved in an incident, so look what's happened here to Smarty. Of course, had the pit lane start, so he's a little bit off the pack at the moment and gets a little bit loose on the curbing. It's a reasonable hit. Offline there, out of people's way, so hopefully manages to get that going. It sounds like
yeah,
he has.
That front-on impact's never any good for the cars. He might end up with a meatball there.
Absolutely, Dave. Anyway, we continue on. James Scott managing to get another 10th on that gap. Rudd and Radu working well together. Boyd starting to drop off a little bit from these guys. So we might just jump back on with Briggsy for a minute. So Kuznetsov, Briggs and Freeman, this gap is very tight at the moment. As Briggs has a little bit of a look to the outside. Is he going to get it done here? Looks like he has. They both have. So I wonder what's going on with Rick. Maybe doing a bit of fuel saving.
Rick might have had a slowdown.
That would make sense. Right up under the back wing now of Briggs again. Of course, these guys 3.5 seconds ahead of Scotty Gamble. See the battle back in the background with Young. It's got a contact between the two SSR cars. Sorry, no. Sorry, between Freeman. Get that right, Freeman and Briggs. Briggs has just been shuffled backwards. Hasn't showed up. I might see if we can get a replay on that. Slight little tap coming through the bus stop. Great car control from Briggs to get it going again.
Yeah, look at the bus stop of lap.
And race control, definitely be having a look at that one. Oh, and Freeman, Munford and Johnson. I think Johnson was involved. That one must be another incident that I've missed. Yeah, let's go back to live picks now. So, Kuznetsov back in front of Freeman. Definitely great save from Briggs. These boys battling away very hard. And Warboys has managed to get past Young in the mix of all that. So he'll be coming up behind his own teammate. Kuznetsov again, literally has Freeman all in his gearbox there. Lap 15 to 77. Bit of a time for some cool heads here.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be. Sorry, John. I wouldn't want to be race control unpacking that Freeman Briggs one.
Nah, I was thinking the same. That's hard work, that. There's no further action incident involving Radu, which I didn't see. But Radu's got past Rudd, I've just noticed. So, not sure what's happened there. Might just even have a look at that. Go to the replay. Well, that's just happened coming down the straight. So, don't know, maybe one guy's car's handling better than the other. A bit of a team tactician. Switch him over.
Yeah, not sure what happened with that one. It looked like Dylan made it pretty easy for him. Not sure if Dylan was clearing a slowdown or anything, but anyway, we've got Brad Radu in second place now, and James Scott has got out to a 1.5 second lead at the moment. So these boys are going to have to work extremely hard to reel that back in now.
Yes, our championship leader has broken away. Head down and gone. He's going to roll back Cam Jones. He's at the back of the train. He's tucked up behind Jordan Ross. He's managed to sneak up 2 spots. So Cam Jones here, you can see the cars in front. You got Ross, Boyd, Rudd, and Radu, and way off in the distance is James Scott. These boys see that entrance coming into the bus stop. You've got to have the precision right not to hit that fence.
Yeah, at the moment, these 5 cars are really battling it out for a step on, to be able to step on the podium tonight, because all these boys are still in with a big shot at getting on the podium.
Oh, absolutely. Fuel saving, everything comes into play here. And I have to agree with you, Sean McNamara, that it's very hard to reset your brake markers and stuff when you've been following, watching the lights, so to speak. So Brad Day looking very comfortable. He's pulled a little bit of gap out on Dylan. Jack Boyd, though, he's definitely in the mix here as well now. He's starting to get onto the back of Dylan as well.
Yeah, Dylan might be losing a little bit of top end speed with that bit of side damage. We know how much a bit of damage on the side panels can affect the top end speed with the aero. So you lose more speed with the side damage than you do without a bonnet or without a boot lid. So yeah, he might be just losing a little bit of top end speed.
It needs to show a little bit of restraint. Look after the car. Get one fast repair. So this wouldn't be too far away from starting to consider a pit stop. So you might be able to get in and get some new tyres, get the panel damage fixed, and maybe not lose too much more. But definitely fighting hard. Ooh, on the grass for both of them. Using all the track and some. Jack Boyd sitting in 4th, right up behind Rudd. Making the most of the slipstream. Of course, no open sets. The boys have got to get the tyre wear out of the car. 52-degree track temperature. It's hard work coming up that hill all the time. Cars sliding everywhere. Start wearing those tyres, you're not going to have the same speed going through the turns 3 and 4. And the grip level in the carousel starts to hurt as well. Which makes it harder to get the power down coming out.
They're currently on lap 19 of 77. We've got James Scott, Brad Radu, Dylan Rudd, Jack Boyd, Jordan Ross, Cam Jones, Thomas Freeman, Rick Kuznetsov, Adam Briggs, Blake Warboys has made his way into the top 10 and up 13 spots. That is a awesome drive so far for the night for Blake. And we're just on lap 20. So I think if the boys are going to probably split the race in 3 with 2 compulsory stops, we're probably going to start seeing some stops around lap 21, 22, I would think would be the earliest.
He won't be too far away. And see Scott Gamble along behind Warboy, still keeping himself in front of Paul Young in 12th. Dylan Rudd now starting to come under a lot of pressure from Jack Boyd. Boyd getting a bit of pressure now from Ross, so the hurry up's obviously coming.
Yeah, this is a very interesting group. 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Dylan Rudd, Jack Boyd, Jordan Ross, Cameron Jones. There's nothing between these guys at the moment.
Getting very racy, Boyd having a good look. It gets out alongside Rudd. Ross trying to have a bit of a look in here as well. And that's Boyd through. Had a little bit of a touch. It's allowed Ross through. Cam Jones getting in the mix here as well. Dylan Rudd shuffled back 4 spots. He's Rudd back into 6th. Big shout out to Joshy Barella as well, watching. As here comes Rudd on, manages to hold off Jones. Sorry, Cam Jones in the background there. Jordan Ross now has a foot on the podium. And just going to go back a little bit, quick look. And 2 incidents, both racing incidents. So they've made a decision on that call before, no further action, which is a bit weird. And
yeah, when I looked at it, John, and I thought it was, you know, it was going to be a tough one to pick who was actually at fault there. Like, I think both drivers probably could have given a little bit more room to each other, so it was hard to pin the blame more on one driver, and I think that's probably a good decision in the end.
good. That is great work by race control. And there's another incident being investigated between the ladder and Schultz. The boys been kept a little bit busy upstairs. Cam Jones, he's hanging on to the back of Dylan Rudd. We can see that Ross and Boyd have managed to pull away a little bit from these guys. And James Scott's got himself out to 2.2 second lead from Radu, so definitely starting to open up a bit towards the front of the group.
Yeah, James Scott doing James Scott things as usual. We've still got a long way to go. It's certainly, there's nothing in the bag as yet. There's a lot can happen. We're going to probably end up with some lap traffic around here with this short lap. So yeah, still a lot of things to unfold in the next, what do we got, 55 laps to go.
Yeah, we might just go back, have a look how Warboys is getting on. He's got a 2.6 seconds to get onto the back of Briggs. They'll keep a bit of an eye on that gap. You can see the distance there in front of him. Hasn't pulled away from Gamble as much as we thought we would. No further action in that other investigation. So Briggsy sitting in 9th. So one former champion being chased by another former champion of the East Coast Series. He's going to jump on with Kenny Ladder. He's right up, tucked up behind Ben Morris. So he'll be looking for a way past here. Let's bring the track map up. Hey, some good driving by all. Oh, Craig Schultz in the background there. Absolutely driving the wheels off it. Go back up to this front group with Boyd and Rudd. So Dylan managed to hang on to the back of Boydie here. Still got a bit of pressure from Cam Jones behind himself. Jack Boyd from Synergy Sim Racing, he's having an absolute blinder.
Timmy Mulford hits the pit lane.
So it's starting to see the first one. Not sure the exact length time of the pit lane stop, to be honest, Steve. I can't quite remember. I know it's a very short pit lane at this place compared to other tracks we race on. Very short entry, short exit.
Yeah, very tricky entry too, especially if somebody's pitting and you've got people who want to hold the race line. It can be very, very touch and go on getting in to the pit lane cleanly.
As you can see there, you drop down inside what is the pit entry lane. I hope you're drinking Absolute vodka, Dave Worrell. Cam Jones here working really hard All over the back of Dylan Rudd. His teammate. And the 9-5 boys. Still with 4 cars in the top 10, which is a great effort. Seeing a good old-fashioned battle between SSR and 9-5 tonight in the top 10. The exclusion of Tom Freeman from Fishy.
Yeah, and Blake Warboys has snuck into the 10 as well. Remember that? He's currently up 13 spots, and probably a case of what might have been if he had been able to get back home a little bit earlier from his work commitments and get some practice and qualifying times in, because he wasn't able to set a quali lap. So Blake doing an outstanding job at the moment.
Yeah, it still hasn't managed to close that gap, though. That gap's opened up a little bit to Adam Briggs. So whether he's settling in now to try and play out the strategy as we tick over lap 26 of 77. And let's go back. Another good little battle on track, of course, is this battle here with Craig Schultz, Ladder and Morris. So
Track temperatures crept up another degree. It's up to 52 at the moment. So thought it might have got a little bit cooler, but it's actually got warmer.
Yeah, and temperature's gone up a degree as well. It's 26 degrees. These boys definitely having to earn it tonight. Tyres would be copping a pounding of that track surface temperature. Jump back on with Rudd. Jack Boyd hasn't managed to sneak away. He's lost a bit of time now to Jordan Ross. He's managed to get himself up onto the back of Brad Radu, so that gap's starting to close up a little bit.
Yeah, Jordan's showing some exceptional speed. He's probably snuck under the radar from us a little bit there, the way he's been able to claw back Brad Radu. So yeah, Jordan doing an outstanding job.
And starting to see some lap traffic get into the picture here as well. Damien Johnstone just in front of these boys by about 2 seconds. That's going to add to the equation. Of course, with a minute 9 lap times around this place, these boys don't get too much of a time to have a break and think about stuff.
No, that's right. Damien Johnson has taken a pit stop, so he will get that lap back at some point as soon as James takes his first compulsory stop. Ash Barella in the lane.
And
Jack Boyd, yeah, Jack Boyd in the lane.
So Jack Boyd, the first to blink out of our top 5.
Yeah, it'd be definitely interesting to see what sort of undercut Jack may pick up this hot track.
Warboys into the pits as well as Paul Young starts to put the pressure on Gamble. So definitely starting to see some strategies play out. Dylan Rudd is tucked right up behind. Sorry, has Cam Jones tucked right up behind. So definitely a fair bit of pressure being applied. And a few spots at the moment. Brad Radu still got Ross tucked up behind as well. So they'll all be eagerly anticipating where Jack Boyd comes out. He's come out in 16th at the moment. So 28 of 77. As Rudd, Freeman, Kuznetsov, Briggs and Jones all blink and go in. Paul Young stays out. We know Paul Young and Gamble's in as well. We know Paul Young is a master of fuel saving.
It looked like Cam Jones had spun it on pit entry as well, which is going to cost him an absolute bundle of time.
Let's go to the replay.
I'm sure he'd prefer we didn't.
Oh, contact with Mulford. Looks like Rudd might have clipped the wall there as well. It's going to go that back again from a different angle. Cam Jones.
Yeah, Cam was coming across from a pretty wide angle there. I'm not sure how race controller view that one.
Car 085.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, that. A few calls going into race control from what I can hear in my ears. So James Scott's into the pits, Ross is into the pits. And of course, that'll be interesting. Like I said, it's not an easy pit entry. But Brad Radu stays out. So James Scott, Ross is in the pits. We'll see where they roll out. Mulford and Johnstone incidents being investigated.
I think that'll be Mulford and Cam Jones, I think it'll be.
Jones, sorry, yeah, sorry. So we expect that to be under investigation. Sean McNamara agreeing it was a late call to pit. Let's not just jump up as the pit stops roll through. So we've still got Radu, Young, Morris, Schultz, Freer, Masgood to pit. So the leader of our pitters at the moment, Jordan Ross. Managed to jump.
Jordan? Yeah, Jordan's jumped James Scott in the pit lane. I'm sure James has taken a fair bit more fuel than Jordan, maybe.
Yeah, we'll just bring up that there. So yeah, six seconds difference between Ross and Scott. Boyd was 25. Stetson was about the same. Briggs was about the same. Tom Freer went long as well with 29 seconds. Blake Warboys for 33.2. So Warboys in for a very long time as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how these boys go out. And Will Wilson remembering me doing something in a race about 3 seasons back in Vets where I reversed into the pits after spinning, so it's a good memory. Radu, Young, Morris and Schultz are also into the pits now, so Tom Freer, the last of our non-stoppers. Jordan Ross, our race leader, with that 6-second fuel difference. And I can tell you he's not 6 seconds ahead of Scott, so he's got a bit of work to do if he's going to try and make some time up before the next round of pit stops. Let's wait and see where Young comes out. Remember, he went for that longer stop. He's definitely coming out in front of Gamble, so that's paid off. That's paid off for Paul Young. And a drive-through penalty to Cameron Jones for the unsafe pit entry, causing a collision. Warboys up 13 spots in our top 10. And Tom Freer, the man who's still got a pit. He's under a fair bit of pressure from Brad Radu. He'd be trying to chase down Jordan Ross out in front at the moment.
Yeah, with Tom Freer still on the lead lap and not pitting yet. Now he's given plenty of space to the front runner. I'm sure that would have frustrated Bradley Radu there.
So James Scott sitting in third. He's closing that, pulling away from Freer quite quickly. Freer letting Boydie through now. But Radu, he's under a lot of pressure from James Scott. I need to look after tyres at this stage. And Dylan Rudd's a long way back down, not also due to that incident we saw. He also got a pit lane speeding penalty from iRacing debut. So, yeah, getting off kilter going into the pits doesn't help around this place. He did say it was a difficult pit entry.
Yeah, bit of a frustrating night for Dylan, unfortunately, but fingers crossed he has a better run tomorrow night in the Pro Series.
Jump back, have a look at Craig Schultz. He's tucked up behind Timmy Holford. Of course, Timmy carrying some damage from that incident earlier. A little bit of battle back here. This is a bit further in the pack, but it's a close little tight battle. While looking at battles, might jump up with Briggs. Freeman now starting to put a lot of pressure back on him. Remember, these two came together in the bus stop quite a few laps ago. Well, Wilson asking, do we tune into the Pro Series? I'm part of the race control team for the Pro Series, as well as many other roles that I do as part of that league. And I think Mark tunes in and watches too, because it's some of the best racing outside of East Coast going around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great series, and you want to see the best drivers in the V8s in the country racing on iRacing, then yeah, that's a series to watch.
There's names like Madison Down and Brady Myers, which aren't part of this series. Those guys are very, very quick. Jump back up the front, Jordan Ross. Under a second, that gap back to Radu now. This 6 seconds might be going to hurt Jordan, I think. Got himself some clean air.
Yeah, well, now that Radu and James Scott have cleared Tom Freer, that gap to Jordan Ross is coming down quite quickly by the look of it.
There, they're closing in. James Scott's tucked behind. Tom Freeman, they're still battling with Briggs. Not much in it for these guys.
James Scott with a little lock-up coming into the bus stop there, managed to hang on to it. Great car control, it almost went pear-shaped for him there.
Oh, a little bit wide, that's gonna hurt. Nowhere for Freeman to go to get the run though.
You can see but one very small mistake how much that gap closes up so quickly.
Oh, doesn't take much. Tom Freeman here looking very racy. Briggs having to do a lot of work. Starting to make some small errors.
Yeah, Thomas Freeman putting all sorts of pressure on former champion Adam Briggs, and yeah, Thomas is one of our standout performers, very consistent driver, and yeah, these two have been hard at it all night. Looking at that gap at the front now, it's almost nothing. So Radu's been able to get all the way back under Jordan Ross's wing at the moment, and James Scott's right there as well.
Of course, then you remember with this group here, Jordan Ross had a, not lap, sorry, time. Go back to the figures here. So Jordan Ross had the 24-second pit stop. Radu had a 22-second pit stop. And then James Scott put in 6 seconds worth more of fuel. So I expect Scott to have a very short last stop. And these other two boys have to sit there for an extra 6 seconds. So probably rolling the dice, maybe hoping for a safety car. But we'll see what happens. Still a long way to go. We're only on lap 37 of 77. But these boys are our race leaders. So Matty Mascot goes in for his pit stop. So it only leaves Tom Freer on circuit at the moment as the last of our stoppers. And kind of here, I think Scott knows he's got the jump on these boys time-wise, the next stop. So I think he's just comfortably sitting in here saving a bit of fuel. Radu, though, I'm expecting him to try and make a move because he needs to try and get some time.
Matty Mascot just made his first pit stop of the night on lap 38, so that's a very late stop for Matty.
Another one who might be rolling the dice, hoping for a late safety car. How long did Matty stop for? Out of curiosity. Time. Mascot.
42 seconds.
It's further up to come home.
Yeah, so he'll have a short, just maybe some fresh tyres on his second stop, and might see him jump a few positions there. Might be an interesting strategy to keep an eye on, that one.
I might just go back. Tom Freer's finally gone in for his stop. And Freeman and Briggs still nose to tail. And the interesting one is the man in 8th position, Blake Warboys, up 15 spots. Definitely a night of what could have been, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt, they could be one of them drivers that would love to see a safety car to get him back in contact with that front group of cars. He's done an outstanding job coming from rear of grid to 15th, to 8th, sorry, up 15 spots. So pretty good night's work so far from Blake.
Yep, definitely doing well. As you can see, Scott having a little bit of a look on Radu. These guys have closed up their gap a little bit. There's Dave Worrell with the car that flipped over the fence at the bus stop when the vets were here and sunk into the ground. Only to be never seen again. But Jordan Ross under a lot of pressure here.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. Jordan's got a lot of experience though, so he should be, you know, Jordan's used to racing under pressure, and James Scott probably feeling a little bit frustrated that he's got more speed in that car that he can't use. Brad Radu getting a nice tow up that back straight from Jordan Ross, which is probably preventing James from making a move up there. But the big thing for James is he's got time in hand in the pit stop, so he's just got to bide his time and not throw the baby out with the bathwater at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely good strategy. Don't have to race everything. They've got to race the cars in front of you. So we'll see what James does here. It's right up on the back of Radu this time. Some great driving by these guys.
Yeah, definitely not easy running so close together lap after lap. Tucked up under that wing, looking for brake markers, you know, like it's pretty intense racing, and these guys are some of the best in the business.
And here we go, Scott gets Radu. Nice little move coming into turn 10.
made that look so easy, but
It's
Brad
not.
Radu as well, like
Yeah.
a lot of experience, knowing not to, throw everything away for one corner. So great driving from the pair of them.
And of course, these three cars running together using the slipstream off each other managed to get themselves 4.5 seconds ahead of Jack Boyd. He's still 4 seconds ahead of Rick Kuznetsov. Another 3.6 back to Briggs. So plenty of gaps opening up in the field at the moment. So these guys with the short fuel stops probably not going to come out too bad, I think. We go through our next round of stops.
Yeah, I think track position for these boys is king at the moment. So I think like they've all done their homework and crunched the numbers, and I think these boys are looking pretty rock solid at the moment. Jack Boyd sitting back there in fourth, literally in no man's land at the moment. Rick Kuznetsov doing a great job. He's up 5 spots. We haven't really spoken much about Rick, but he's had an outstanding night so far. Up 5 spots in 5th. So then we've got Adam Briggs, Thomas Freeman, Blake Warboys, who we've mentioned, up 15. Paul Young up 3. Paul, as we saw, in P2 in the championship, and once again just building them points and building a great season for championship points.
Definitely the trick is to build the season. As you can see, Cam Jones and Dylan Rudd. So Dylan running around in 15th, of course, after that pit lane penalty. And involved in a little bit of incident early on, entering pit lane at those first stops. So these boys working pretty well together. It's going to jump back up on Briggs.
Yeah, sorry, John. James Scott's just executed a move into the bus stop on Jordan Ross to take the lead. So back to regular broadcasting.
Might actually go to the Supercheap Auto replay and have a look at that. It's nice to get to the draft, nicely pulls through. Smart head on Jordan Ross's shoulder. No point fighting that one. And easily done. James Scott back in the lead. He's going to roll back again. Of course, we've got Briggs and Freeman. Just going to have a quick double check on their pit stops between these two boys. So they both, of course, Freeman had that longer stop. So Briggsy needs to do a little bit of work here, try and stretch his legs a bit. As we know, that 5 seconds or 4 seconds here will make a big difference when it comes time to stop if we stay green. A great little battle. Old Fishy versus SSR.
Yeah, they've had a night-long battle, these two. There was a bit of an incident, bit of a touch into the bus stop chicane earlier in the race, but they've settled back down, and yeah, they're both racing extremely hard. Rick Kuznetsov just ahead of him there. I'm sure Thomas Freeman would love to clear at him, but just hasn't quite got the legs at the moment.
Of course, Blake Warboy's 12 seconds behind these guys.
Yeah, as I said earlier, John, I think Blake's one of them drivers that really love to see a safety car to get him back in contact with the drivers ahead of him.
He's going to jump back on Jordan Ross now under a fair bit of pressure from Brad Radu. And Sean,
Super impressed with Brad Radu coming back to the V8s after a fair spell out of the car. He was racing GT3s and other cars, I think, but he's got back into the V8, and it's like he's never stopped driving it. He's just jumped straight back into the top echelons of the V8s on iRacing.
yeah, definitely quality driver. And showing it again tonight. And I think we're just noticing over the last couple of weeks, he's just getting quicker and quicker as well, which is fantastic. Definitely keeping Jordan Ross honest this evening. As it's looking with the talk before with Rick Kuznetsov just in front of Freeman and Briggs, just backing what Sean McNamara is saying. He thinks they might be working together to try and hunt down Rick. So keep an eye on that gap, see if it closes anymore. Sitting at about 3.2 seconds at the moment. And it's going to jump on Briggs. If there's any damage, it's been told by race control that he struck the wall coming out of the last corner. On lap 45, sorry. There doesn't appear to be any damage there.
I think you get, a lot of times you can scrape that wall and get a 0x. It does send out a bit of concrete dust and sparks, but generally there's not much damage on the car. But yeah, looking at lap times between Kuznetsov, Freeman, Briggs, there's absolutely nothing in it. They're all running around, roughly around the same lap times, although that lap Thomas Freeman just snuck into the 109s with Rick Kuznetsov doing a 1 minute point 10 137. So Rick was a couple of tenths quicker than in that lap, so it all makes a difference. Rick or Thomas will just chip away now, feeling like he's got clear of Briggsy and got a clear track in front of him, and will hopefully be able to set some good lap times.
It'll be very interesting to see if he can close that gap. It is getting closer. It's down 2.7 seconds now. He's going to jump back up again. Check on Jordan Ross. He's up 5 spots, sitting in second. Of course, has 5 seconds less fuel in the car than what James Scott does in front of him. But he's battling away, I think, the second spot on the podium here with his battle with Radu. Hey, great to see Jordan having a good race. Well, yeah, Vets Split 1 will be back on Sim Speed on Thursday night. Split 3 will be Friday night at 9 o'clock. And Split 2 is usually 8:30 on Sunday. So definitely all back up and running splits for a 10-round season for Vets. So absolutely looking forward to that one.
Yeah, looking forward to the old boys getting back into it. Thursday night, Split 1, Road Atlanta. If you're on the YouTube channel with SimSpeed, it should be a great broadcast and some great racing.
Yes, and some big, I think 140 cars over 3 splits. And it is looking really good. I think there's something like 10 new drivers have entered for this season. Just waiting to hear on Darren Lobb, who I think will be a very big contender at the front of Split 1. He's just might be moving house, so he's not sure whether he'll be racing or not. Definitely looking forward to the boys getting back into the battles. And it's the first season where we're using a driver ranking system to define our splits, which is a fair bit of work's gone into that with Peter Vanderkroon. And looking at the entries in all the splits, I think it's going to be very competitive driving across the whole split for all 3 of them. So looking forward to definitely getting back behind the wheel on Thursday night and having a drive.
Yeah, it should be fun. And yeah, the Vets master statistician, Peter Vanderkroon, absolutely crunches numbers on anything and everything. Yeah, to do with the V8's series, and yeah, we're very lucky to have somebody who puts in so much time and effort into crunching numbers for us.
Yeah, it was very, very well done. I was very impressed. Anyway, we've still got a battle here. Jordan Ross has dropped a little bit from James Scott, but he's still got that 0.2, 0.3 gap back to Radu. And we did say that Tom Freeman would start hunting down Rick Kuznetsov. Rick's only a second up the road now. He's dragged Briggsy along with him. So definitely trying to get himself up the track a little bit. So expect this gap to close up shortly, I think.
Yeah, Thomas Freeman doing his usual thing and just working his way into the race from the start. He says anytime he's on the podium or in the comms box with us, if he could qualify better, he'd probably get some better results. And I probably agree with him there. If he could nail a qualifying lap, he'd be right up there with the front runners. He does manage to work his way throughout the race with great tactical nous and superb driving and consistency. So, but if he could nail a qualifying lap, he would be right up there with the front runners.
As Gamble having a move on Johnston here, doesn't quite get it done. And you get a look into the corner here in the final turn, and he's going to be through. So speaking of vets, our season 15 champion Scott Gamble gets himself alongside. I think he's going to get the pass done this time. Gets himself past Damien Johnstone. No, still 2x2. Some great driving. And Gamble into the wall. So see if we can go back and have a look at that. Supercheap auto replay. A side by side.
That's not what we want to see.
I thought it looked a bit like netcode. Let's keep an eye on that. No, there is tap. And Gamble into the wall. That'll be big contact, big damage. That's at high speed. The car, the engine's blown as well. Go back to live pictures. So we can find out where Gamble is on track. He's taken the shortcut through the bus stop with a blown engine. So we may see that safety car we're talking about yet. He doesn't get back. Looks like he's circulating relatively well.
Yeah, he's blowing a lot of smoke. I think he probably should get back to the pits.
Yeah, Johnstone's in the pits. So just keep a bit of a loose eye on that one. I think he's going to make it. We might just go back up. Freeman's got past Kuznetsov. Hang on, I just heard that engine stop then. So the engine's dead. Is he going to roll around? It's uphill a little bit here. I think he's off the track enough there. I think he's back. That's good. Won't be safety car.
Yeah, that's a shame for Scotty Gamble there. He was having a good opening night with us tonight, but I'm sure he'll come back bigger and better next time out.
And that
A
incident,
lot of damage, of damage on that car.
yeah, a lot of damage. That incident under investigation with race control. Hopefully he didn't use a fast repair on that first one, or it'll be a quick fix if he managed to roll to his box. Of course, it's uphill in that section. So Ross is still under a fair bit of pressure from Radu. That gap hasn't changed. Radu looking a bit ratty in the background there, getting sideways. As we have a look at Kuznetsov, he's been passed by Freeman. So Tom Freeman doing really well at this stage of the race. So next man up the road for Tom Freeman's Jack Boyd, but that's about 5.4 seconds. James Scott into the pits. Radu into the pits.
Yeah, 24 laps to go. We're seeing the front runners take their final stops. Just had a quick look at that replay, and there was a ton of netcode in that incident between Johnson and Scotty Gamble, unfortunately.
Never easy, the old netcode. This is what it first looked like on the first camera angle I looked at. These boys, Scott, Radu, Freeman. Remember, Scott had 5 seconds more fuel than everybody else, so he should be out first. Of course, Jordan Ross has kept going around with Jack Boyd. So these boys getting passed by a few.
Well, Radu out in front of ahead of James Scott.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Obviously must have done a fair bit of fuel saving. So we're just going to go to the pit times. So Jordan Ross in there at the moment. Where are we? Radu come down. They're the ones that had the second stop. I'm a bit blind at the moment. So Radu, of course. So no further action. Net code contact. The gamble incident. So 24 seconds for Radu. 30 seconds again for Scott. So hopefully that hasn't added up. I think they're still sitting on the same numbers as last time. So I might let them go for a lap, let that settle down, and hope we get the right results. As Warboys is our race leader.
I got James Scott at a 30-second stop as well on mine, 30.4. So just wondering whether possibly he may have missed his pit box on the first stop, which was why he had an extra long stop. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, Mark. Well, I'm just going to go back to the graphic again. So yeah, James Scott a 30.3 second stop. Well, boys, a little bit loose there. So Radu's got the jump on him. Scott's got Ross tucked up behind. It's Cam Jones sitting back in fifth. He still needs to stop. And then the next man who stopped is Freeman. So these boys getting their last stops out of the way. 55 of 77. So 22 laps to go here. Starting to count that down. Yeah, Sean Mack just as confused as we are about these pit stop times. But definitely in the battle. Warboys in the pits now. So Radu about to take the race lead. This will be a great fight to the finish now between Radu, James Scott, Jordan Ross. Can Thomas Freeman knock on the door of the podium? A lot to fight for still here. But Brad Radu got himself 2.6 seconds. So the pressure's now on James Scott. Can he fight back, get himself into a good, strong position? Jordan Ross, he'll be looking to probably capitalise as well. Scotty Gamble, he's back out on track. They managed to get the car going again. Got it back. There was a late unsafe pit exit with an iRacing black flag to Kenny Ladder as well in the mix there. Yeah, so Scott Gamble's going again. He's sitting back in 22nd. He's got a bit of work to do. Good to see he's still racing. Great competitor, great sportsman is Scotty Gamble. So he'll definitely race till the end. But
Okay, I've done a little bit of investigation there, John, on James Scott's first pit stop, and he was on the jacks, came down, and then went back up on the jacks. So not sure what was going on with his pit service, but he was up on the jacks twice, so that's why he spent so long in pit lane on the first one.
yeah, that is not great. He wouldn't be too happy with that. But 2.5 seconds, that gap is closing slowly. A long way to go still. Still got 20 laps.
20 laps to go, which sounds like a lot of laps, but it unfolds pretty quickly around here. We've got about 25 minutes of racing, so yeah, he's still got time to catch Brad, but I don't know. Brad's in pretty good form tonight, so James is really going to have to work hard here.
Of course, James, the championship leader of the Pro Series, probably looking for a good hard workout. So we'll see if he can reel that gap in. And great to see Brad keeping the pressure on. Just going to have a look where Warboys has ended up after all those stops. He's back in 10th position. Answer your question there, Will. Yeah, it's pretty flash looking. It's the new livery that has just been done for us. Fair bit of help from Infinity Designs from Michael Whiting. Actually, no, he's running the old livery. Oops. Yeah, the new livery, it's out and about. Maybe Harrison's running it. No, Harrison's running the old one too. Yeah, there is a new livery done from Infinity Designs that we'll start to see the boys rolling out in the next couple of weeks as well. So, but yeah, Michael Whiting helping me out for a change. Well, not for a change, helping me out, which was a nice change instead of having to come up with new livery designs all by myself. And Cam Jones has just set the fastest lap of the race, back in 15th position with a 109.005. Which is a big splash in the pan.
Yeah, great lap from Cam, and we know how quick Cam is. He's blindingly fast on his night. If he can just manage to get his racing right, he would be well and truly right up there every week. And he's a great guy, and he's, like I say, super competitive, and he's blindingly quick. He's just got to get that consistency.
Yeah, consistency is the key to building a championship. To answer your question, Sean McNamara, yes, he is running the new look livery, but he's running the blue version, the blue and white version. Carlton supporter, special request when he came across. But yeah, there's a black and green version for War Boys and a couple of other colours floating around on that. As we jump back to James Scott. Doing a great job. Some other battles. Cam Jones, as we said, was fastest before on track. He's now tucked up in a bit of a battle with Rudd and Dengate.
Yeah, Dylan Rudd, we haven't mentioned him for a little while. He's starting to fight his way back towards the top 10 as well. We know how quick and what a quality driver Dylan is, and he's had a few issues tonight, but he's slowly making his way back through the field, which is good to see.
Yeah, an awesome drive. And Steve Murray likes the Hoff livery. A lot of Spec Mac work goes into that. Very, very tough customer, the Hoff. As Tom Frere goes in the pit now. Of course, Tom running that alternate strategy. No safety cars after 60 laps. Unfortunately, it hasn't paid off for him.
Yeah, we saw Tom have to tow back to the pits after hitting the grass on the exit of the carousel, and yeah, went down the wrong road and probably got a black flag. So yeah, tough night for Tom.
It's another one of the young, fast guys coming out of Synergy Sim Racing. This guy here, that gap's down to 2 seconds. So slowly reeling Radu in. Ross coming along for the ride. He's going to jump back to Thomas Freeman. He's sitting in 4th spot. He's 5 seconds back from that battle up front. But he has to be a little bit careful. He's got Jack Boyd 2.5 seconds behind him. And then we go back then to another big gap back. As we just see Rick Kuznetsov get past Adam Briggs. Briggs, he's a little bit sideways there trying to hang on. So Kuznetsov back in 6th with Briggs. And then we go another 10 seconds back to War Boys in 8th spot, up 15 spots. Paul Young, we haven't mentioned Youngie much tonight, running in the Vehicle Finance Solutions entry from Faith Sport Motorsports. So Paul's managed to fight himself up 3 spots, get him into the top 10. So might not be losing too many points for the guy that's running second in the series. Running behind James Scott. And I think a few of the boys in between Paul and James haven't ran all the races this season, so that opens up the door a fair bit.
Yeah, Paul's built a good consistent streak through the season. Always, generally, I think every round bar one, he's been well inside the top 10. So I think Paul should be able to hang on to that 2nd spot after tonight, as long as he can finish where he is.
Definitely fighting hard to try and do so. As we can see Cam Jones now getting past Harrison Dengate. Nice
Just been
good move.
keeping an sorry, John. I'm just keeping an eye on them lap times the last few laps. There was only a 10th difference in the laps between Brad Ratto and James Scott, but that last lap we saw a 3/10 difference. So James Scott's starting to claw that gap now. He's another 2.5 tenths on that lap, so he's clawed back half a second in 2 laps. So what have we got? 14 laps to run. It's going to be pretty tight, I think, when we get to the final lap.
Absolutely. It is going to be an epic battle. 1.3 seconds is closing in. You can see that gap now. See Jordan Ross hanging onto the back of Scott as well. So it's not going to be a case of when they get there, it's going to be 1-on-1. It's going to be 2-on-1. 2 Synergy Sim Racing boys are coming. Does Brad Radu from 9.5 Sim Sports have something left?
He's driven a stellar race all night. He qualified well. He's been in the hunt the whole of the race tonight. So he hasn't put a foot wrong yet, and I hope that's not a commentator's curse moment. But I really looking forward to this kind of last 10 laps, whether he can hold off James Scott.
Of course. Sean McNamara mentioning that it might be long till he's in the tow as well, which will be helping him get up into this battle.
I think that's what we're seeing now, that James has picked up the tow, and he's picking up probably a couple of tenths just up that back straight alone. So yeah, it won't be long before we see him right there.
Looking forward to it. Let's have a quick look how Briggs is getting on. He's managed to hang on to the back of Rick still. So that's only 4 tenths there in that group. Warboys has taken a second out of these two though, which is interesting. We'll keep on this battle up the front.
Yeah, well, Warboy's got a clear track, and with these two battling, you know what it's like, John, when you're distracted in the car, it's easy to lose time, and Blake got a clear track in front of him, and he's just doing his own thing, no distractions, so not surprised to see Blake eating into these two guys' lead.
Man. And Ash Barella has just had a drive-through penalty for an incident points cap. So a little bit of action down the back.
So at the moment, with 12.5 laps to go, we've got Brad Radu, James Scott, Jordan Ross, Thomas Freeman, Jack Boyd, Rick Kuznetsov, Adam Briggs, Blake Warboys, Paul Young, Damian Johnson rounds out your top 10. Some pretty big movers in that lot too. Brad Radu up 2, Jordan Ross up 4, Tom Freeman up 5, Jack Boyd up 1, Rick Kuznetsov up 4, Adam Briggs up 1, Blake Warboys the big mover up 15, Paul Young up 3, and Damian Johnson up 3. Ben Morris, an honourable mention, up 6. Harrison Dengate also in 14th, he's up 5. Craig Schultz in 15th, up 3.
Yeah, some great performances tonight throughout the whole field. And Morris having a little battle here to try and get into the top 10 with Damian Johnstone. But Radu, that gap's down to half a second.
I think by the time we get to the bus stop this time round, it'll probably be down to about 2 tenths.
Here we are. This is the battle we've been talking about. It's about to unfold in front of us. Scott would have had to have used a bit of the car, a bit of tyres, everything else, to try and fight to close that gap. Does the car have anything left? Has he done too much or asked too much of his tyres? The man who's quietly come along for the ride, sitting back there, Jordan Ross. But here we are. SSR versus 9.5. This has been the battle all season. And We're at it again. Scott shaves the nose, says hello. But he's just got to keep his cool here. Coming down the back straight into the bus stop. We're on lap 67 to 77, 11 to go, or 10 and a half to go. And this is absolutely going to be a cracking finale. Of course, Jordan Ross in the box seat to watch this battle unfold in front of him. Lap 68. A little bit unbalanced there by Scott. Braking into turn one. Here comes Scott. He's through. What can Ross do? Great move by our championship leader.
Yeah, great. Well executed move there. Great driving from Brad Ratto too. Like, saw James coming, gave him enough space to finish the move off, and was able to tuck back in behind before Jordan Ross was able to try and take advantage as well. So good driving from everybody there.
Yeah, excellent driving. Now, can Jordan Ross make a move? He's the next man in the train, sitting in third now. Jordan Ross battling away. James Scott back out in front, makes up for that incident in his first pit stop where he put the car on the jacks twice. So I'd be quite happy to have recovered from that one. But Jordan Ross, can he hang on? Ratto, of course, will be still in the tow of James Scott. We need to use that tow to manage to hold off the hard-charging Jordan Ross. Of course, if you are out there watching us on Facebook or YouTube, particularly on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Make it easier to find us, make it easier to see what's going on. There's Jordan Ross, just not quite closing that gap as quickly as what he probably wants to. He's going to check back on Rick Knetsov and Adam Briggs. So this is a battle here for 6th and 7th. So Rick's managed to hold Adam off for most of the race.
I think Adam's fought pretty hard to get back up to the back of Rick here, so I'm sure Adam will be trying to get a little bit closer with 7.5 laps to go and just seeing if he could make one more spot. But we know what a quality driver Rick Kuznetsov is, and never one to give a free pass to anybody. So if Adam does get there, he's going to have to work extremely hard to get past.
Yeah, definitely quality driving throughout most of this field, or throughout the whole field, to be honest. Yeah, these boys are having an absolute cracker tonight. But James Scott hasn't pulled away from Ratto as much as I thought, or as quick as I thought he would. Which is probably hindering Jordan Ross a little bit. Well, this is our podium here, covered by less than a second. Pretty awesome when you think we've gone green flag for 71 of 77 laps. That is a fair effort for these boys. Just going through, yep, Wallboy's up into 8th. He's up 15 spots. Had a poor qualifying session, didn't manage to set a time, and has recovered really well.
I think you've been a little bit harsh on Blake there, John. He only had like 4 minutes of qualifying after getting home late from work commitments in Sydney. So I feel like that's pretty harsh to say it was a poor performance. You're a hard taskmaster.
Oh, absolutely. Someone's going to crack the whip in the team. These guys, they have done really well. Just jump on the gyro. Ride a lap around with James. The old tyres, he'd be a bit tired, I think.
Yeah, just 5.5 laps to go. So, yeah, the boys will be pretty worn out by the end of this one, I think.
And 90 minutes of racing. Just short, reasonable race length on a short track with not much time to have a break. A track that's very demanding on tyres. Still running with a track temperature of 51 degrees. Yeah, these guys are having an absolute blinder. See how James uses every inch of the track there. Gets the car out onto the wall, the edge of the wall, without touching it.
What a stellar season this guy has put together. He's absolutely been on fire all season, and it is an absolute pleasure to watch him drive.
Yes, I'd say with 1 round to go. Of course, Bathurst next week. I'd say James has about all done everything but nail the final nail in the coffin on a championship here. So very worthy driver.
Jordan Ross all the way tucked up under the rear wing of Brad Radu now. So Jordan's been able to claw a bit of time back there. So just 4 laps to go. This is going to be a pretty intense battle, I think, right to the flag.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye on this one. Of course, we'll have a bit of fun if we get Jordan in the commentary box. We'll get Jordan to do the sponsors. I hear he's a hard taskmaster if the boys miss a few. Throw the pressure back on the boss. We're 6 seconds back to Thomas Freeman. Great drive from Fishy driver there. Jack Boyd, the talk of the night. Great effort from him to get himself into 5th. Will, though, it's question, Will.
I think it's 49 laps.
Yeah, 49. So reasonable length. Jordan dropped back a little bit here. Great driving. It's about to start lap 75. 3 to go. Yeah, Bathurst 1000, Supercheap Auto Bathurst 1000 is in season 7, Will. So next season, so anyone out there watching, still not too late to join. We've still got a couple of spots left, not many. A couple of spots left for next season, season 7 starting in July. And it's going to be a cracker of a season.
Yeah, cracking calendar. Yeah, the 1000 is set to be done on Sunday, 17th of September. So put that one in your diaries because that'll be a cracking race.
Yes, 1000 Ks. Supercheap coming in with some extra trophies, I think, for that one as well. So definitely looking forward to seeing what we get and team lines up we get for that. As we're on the penultimate lap, these guys still nose to tail.
And yeah, quick shout out to Supercheap. What a great sponsor we've been able to secure for this series. Absolutely first class sponsor, and we're really lucky and really grateful to have them on board.
Yes, all of our sponsors that we have for the series as well, like West End Motor Group and Vehicle Finance Solutions. It is sensational. Of course, the Super Group also consists of BCF, MacPack, Rebel, and of course we also have Barella Cabinets and the Pool Guys as well as part of our sponsorship group. So yeah, series. Jordan Ross having a look. Ooh, it's going to be tight. Going to be seen on the outside. Last lap. About to start. What can Ross do?
He's got a good run out of the last corner there.
Not quite an overlap. That's all going to come down to the back now. James Scott's got that gap out to about 0.9 of a second.
Only took a couple of corners of battle and for that gap to really open up there, didn't it?
It did, yeah. So there's a little incident somewhere there between Mascoot and Scott Gamble, so not sure what's happened now. Here we go, through the bus stop. Round the outer loop. Only 2 corners to go. Of course, this man in front has dominated. And so that's good coming out. So something happened in that corner there. And it has been, he's run out of fuel.
Oh, right, he's run out of.
Wow, it's run out of fuel. Wow. Scott was in the fence. So James Scott is first, Jordan Ross second, Brad Radu home in third, Freeman in fourth. Great drive up, 5 spots for him. Jack Boyd brings it home in fifth, Rick Knetsov in sixth, Adam Briggs in seventh. So just behind Kuznetsov, Blake Warboys up 15 spots to finish 8th. Paul Young coming around now. He's going to bring it home in 9th. And Damien Johnstone is the next man. And that rounds out our top 10. We might go Supercheap Auto Replays, looking at a few comments in there. And let's have a look at Scotty Gamble and what happened with Scotty Gamble and Matty Mascoot. A great little battle. A little bit of a tap there coming out of turn 4. And Gamble stuck in the fence. So the old fence gotcha. So that's the story of that one. The story of the night though has been James Scott again. Driver of the day, Mark.
Blake Warboys, without a doubt. He's had a super run tonight, and probably a case of what would have been if he had have been able to get home on time and qualify.
Yes, definitely would be the case. Hopefully we'll start to see some of these boys come in for the green room, and we'll drag them up when they get up there.
That was some great racing tonight, some of the best racing I think we've seen all season. That was super tight the whole race, and the winner wasn't really, we kind of felt like James Scott was there, but then when we realised he'd been on the jacks twice in stop one, he he made it hard work for himself. So Brad Radu running out of fuel just 100 metres before the line. Bad luck to him, but still finishes on the podium, and he had an absolutely outstanding night of racing tonight. Jordan Ross done well as well, and of course Thomas Freeman once again up 5 spots. That guy's so good in a race situation, and yeah, if he could get a good quali lap in, who knows what'll happen with Thomas.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what Tom can do. As we'll have a quick chat to the man that has crossed the stripe first tonight, James Scott. Well done, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Bit of fun in that first pit stop.
Yeah, I made that a whole lot harder than what I should have. I don't know if it's, well, I don't think I did anything, but I came into the pits and my car went up on the jacks and no fuel went in. So I lost about 8 seconds there because the fuel only started going in after the car dropped on the ground. So, and tyres are about 8 seconds. So cost myself about 8 seconds there for the whole race, which obviously put me back, and I had to short fuel a bit in the first stop just to sort of stay somewhere near the front. So I knew they probably had less fuel to put in than me at the last stop, which turned out to be the case with Brad getting fair way ahead, but like we had enough pace to reel him in.
Yeah, no, it was a great chase and a great little battle behind you that went all the way to the line. So, of course, the man who finished second, Mr. Jordan Ross. Well done, mate.
Hey guys, tired after that.
I figured you boys would be a bit worn out after that one.
Yeah, how good was that? That was good fun racing with Brad there.
Yeah, it was a very entertaining to watch. Just first of all, James with the catch, and then James getting past, and then I think it was 2 to go or 3 to go. I think it was. You almost put a move on Brad that you almost got away with, and it was just some exciting driving.
Yeah, it was mega fun. That's this track brings that. So it was you're holding on the whole time out of the bowl and through the bus stop and all that. Up through 2 and 3, so it's mega fun, this track.
Yeah, I think the cup layout does provide a good alternative for the V8s, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how it all goes tomorrow night. And Brad, what could have been, mate? It was pretty close, but you've managed to get yourself home in third.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal last stint, but yeah, I mean, worst case scenario was going to be third at the start of the last stint. I only made it sort of 4 or 5 laps into the stint before I realised my mistake with fuel.
Yep.
So I had to start sort of trying to keep the pace up and stay fuel at the same time, which obviously didn't quite work out. And then even fuel saving behind James wasn't quite enough. So
yeah, it was a good effort, mate. It's very entertaining to watch and great to see 9.5 up on the podium as well. And we'll have a quick chat to the guy who went up 15 spots. And I was under the impression that you weren't meant to be home till tomorrow night. Mr. Warboys.
Yeah. I thought I'd be getting home just as the race started, but got home with 12 minutes to spare. So thought I might as well jump in and see what I can do.
I'll just tell you, Blake, John said you had a poor qualifying, which I thought was a pretty harsh comment, seeing there was only 4 minutes on the clock or something when you came in.
Yeah, well, I just put the race setup in and, yeah, just got off tracks each time, so it is what it is after being on the plane and working underneath trucks all day. So, yeah, happy with the race result there.
You've done well, mate. You've done well. I'll let you rattle off the sponsors first.
Oh dear, put me on the spot. WK&P Sims Sports, Wodonga Carts and Parts, Rebel Sports, BCF, MacPack, Pool Guys Adelaide, Barella Cabinets, Bay 21 Coffee Beans, LCG Images, and Dave 37 Racing for all their support.
Thanks. Good, mate. Brad, you want to give a shout out for the 9.5 boys?
yeah, of course. Obviously, the team, they're very helpful with helping me get ready for these types of races, and including pro when I don't have the time to dedicate a lot of time to preparations. And of course, our sponsors, Racecraft, Prestige Scintigraphy, Turn In Apparel, Cutting Edge Tracks, and RSW Graphics.
Thanks, mate. James Scott, you owe me. Jordan, you can rattle off the ones for Synergy, mate.
No, James can do it. I don't want to do it. Thanks, James, for beating me. All everyone in the team. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the good set and all the sponsors. Parramatta, Isuzu, a whole lot of them. All of them. Thanks, guys.
No worries. Next week, boys, we're off to Bathurst for 49 laps. Any thoughts on that one for our finale?
Hopefully James isn't here.
He could probably almost take the week
Week
off
off.
and still wrap it up, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen where the drop rounds fall out, but I've got a gut feeling that I think James might have it wrapped up. But anyway, we'll find out next week.
I think I've missed 2 rounds, so I don't think I'll drop anything. I think.
Oh, okay.
So,
That makes it interesting then. I think Youngie was in second and Youngie finished in 9th. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll work it out next week when we all come back and watch again. So, it'll be same time at 8 o'clock. Make sure you jump on YouTube, Facebook or Twitch. And we'll all be here again. Big thank you to you, Mark, again for helping me out, giving all the special comments of all the stuff that I don't quite know. And big thank you, of course, to the league sponsors, league admin, and the boys who do all the work in race control. So, good night to everybody.
Yeah, cheers, John. Thanks to the boys. It was an epic night of racing. Thoroughly enjoyed that tonight and look forward to finishing off the season at the great track, Bathurst.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Big thanks to the guys in the chat who've been watching us as well. And we'll see everybody again next week at Bathurst.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, 2-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.